All right, now we're going to address the Model Studio tool. You'll see here that we're in the case finalization stage. The case has been processed and is here on the right-hand side. You'll see tools here in the lower bottom right-hand side. We're going to address some of these at this point. We'll start right here with the Model Studio icon. When I click here, you'll see it opens Model Studio up here in the upper left-hand corner. First and foremost, what I want to do is align my model along this axis. So I'm going to actually get the midline aligned by moving the model from right to left by utilizing these arrows over here on the left-hand side. And then what I'm going to do is align the incisal edge along this green line by utilizing the arrows over here on the left-hand side as well. So what we can do is kind of align that incisal edge. Doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. And then you have these icons up here on the left-hand side that will allow us to rotate it on its axis. So I'd say that's pretty close to what we need. We'll go ahead and press next here on the lower left side. Okay, now what we're going to do is I can take my mouse and I'm going to use the left clicker to rotate the model up and down to see how much of the model and the base I actually am collecting at this point in time, so I can add more or less as desired. So what I'm going to do is to utilize these little arrows here, and you'll see that this one's for the maxilla, this is for the mandible. So I'm going to go ahead and raise my arrows up. For instance, this case, we may want to include the palate. So what I did is make sure that it's all inside the green line here. And then on the mandible, if I would like to, I can actually extend these arrows down further or raise them up depending on how thick I would like that model to be. Now, I can very, very easily at this point in time click here to finalize the printed model. You're going to see a very simple, easy version of this. So let's go ahead and do this. And then we're going to go back into the Model Studio and you're going to see how we can add the patient's name and so forth. So we can end here. If we wanted to print this as is, we are good to go ahead and export this case by clicking the export button here on the left-hand side. And I can export this as is. Okay, if I would like to undo that and I want to add more detail to this model, I can go ahead and click this little icon here. And I'm back to basically before I pressed next to finalize this case. Okay, now what we're going to do is see that there's different kinds of models here that we can actually do and utilize within the Model Studio. First would be basically kind of an articulator, a case that has less base on it. We can go ahead and select this, but since we selected to include our palette, which I'll go ahead and raise that again because we reset the model, I can go ahead and include the palette. Now what I'm going to do is do a larger base that can be articulated later. So we'll see by clicking that icon here on the left-hand side, I've now put a base on this model. Okay, you've got the trimming tool here where you can delete parts of your model if you would like to, but for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to put the text on right here. By clicking this little T, you'll see that it actually adds the patient ID number that is automatically allocated whenever you create a new patient. However, you can change that ID number to personalize it if you would like to by clicking this little pen and paper here. Okay, so instead of an ID number, what I can do is add the patient's name. For the sake of this demonstration, we'll go ahead and add test. That will be the patient's name. As I press OK, you'll see that now the text on the base of the model has been updated to the patient's name. And you do that by clicking this little pen and paper here. At this point in time, if we're happy with the process, we're happy with what we have here, I can go ahead and finalize printed model, which is going to obviously finalize the process. And from here, I can easily export it to a printer within my clinic. Here's my model. By pressing this export option, you're going to export the files to your desktop, which can be then utilized and sent to the printer within your clinic. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.